everybody, in this video I am going to show you my TBR for the O.W.L.s Magical Readathon 2020. In case you don't know, the O.W.L.s Magical Readathon is a Harry Potter inspired readathon organized by G over at Book Roast. She has been doing this for the past 3 years and I've participated in every single one so far. I absolutely love this readathon because all the challenges are inspired by all the different subjects from Harry Potter. And of course the O.W.L.s in Harry Potter are the ordinary wizarding levels, so the exams that Harry Potter and his friends take in his 5th year. And it's all inspired on that, and she even made this entire booklet all about the different careers you can do, because with your O.W.L.s, of course, you're doing exams, and with different subjects you can pursue different careers. She has put so much work and effort into it, and I will leave a link down below to the announcement video, and in that description box is like all the information and all the other links that you need. So the careers guide and the O.W.L. prompts and yeah, everything that you need to know, it's all in that video, so please watch that one if you want to participate as well. I personally am so excited and I cannot wait for it. I love this readathon so much. It's also a month-long readathon, by the way, so basically this is also my April TBR. And of course I am a Ravenclaw, so all my books will be going towards like the Ravenclaw I don't know, like counter. Because that's also a thing, like counting the books that you've read for each and every house. Like there is so much work and effort behind this readathon. Like again, I can really recommend it to watch that announcement video and participate as well. But like, yeah, that's pretty much it. So for my career, for the first time I have chosen a career as well. Usually I just choose books for all the different, you know, prompts and different subjects, but now I've actually chosen a career. And I have decided to go for the career of journalist or writer, mostly because you only need 3 O.W.L.s to pursue that. So, you know, then the stress isn't too high, the pressure isn't too high. I can do those 3 subjects, and then apart from that I will also choose books for all the other subjects, just to be a bit flexible and to, you know, have multiple books to choose from. And also because, you know, I want to be sort of like a Harry Potter nerd and pursue all my O.W.L. exams even when I don't need them. But yeah, journalist or writer sounds like so much fun. Like I do love to read. I'm not really a writer in real life, but I can be in Harry Potter, I think. For this career you have to do 3 O.W.L.s, as I mentioned before, 1 for History of Magic, Muggle Studies, and 1 subject of your choosing. The subject of my choosing is going to be Charms. This is purely based on the book that I've like chosen with this subject, that I just really have more highly on my TBR. Like I want to read it more than some of the other books on this list, so that is why I chose it. But also Charms is a very all-around subject. Everybody needs some charms. But anyway, let me just get started with talking about all the books that I want to read for the O.W.L.s Magical Readathon. First of all, as I mentioned, History of Magic, and the challenge is Witch Hunt, read a book that is all about wizards or witches. And for this I have chosen Witches of Ash and Ruin by E. Latimer. This is a recent release and it's all about, as the title says, witches. It is about a girl named Dinah. She is struggling from OCD, but also she wants to become a full witch. I don't know much about the story apart from that it's very much about witchiness and witchcraft, and also that it is inspired by Celtic mythology, so it's also myth inspired. It is all about witches. It sounds so exciting. From what I've heard of this book so far, it is very positive, and I do really feel like reading such a witchy, darkish book, and this one sounds just perfect for that. Yeah, absolutely perfect book for this challenge. It's very much about witches. For Muggle Studies, the challenge is to read a book from a Muggle's perspective, so a contemporary. And for this I have chosen A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is about a girl named Pippa who is in high school, and she's doing this project all about a murder that also took place at this high school a couple of years ago. And then of course she gets way too much involved, and it's a YA detective thriller, so like there aren't a lot of books that are YA detective thrillers, I guess. And it's definitely a contemporary, so it's perfect for this challenge. I'm usually not the biggest fan of contemporaries, or at least YA contemporaries, but this one sounds so perfect for it that I just really want to read it. And also I like that, like, after such a witchy book like Witches of Ash and Ruin, I also have a more easy book, you know, a contemporary. It's probably a lot more quicker to read, so that's sort of like nice for the you know, variety in my books for this month. So this is going to be it for Muggle Studies, and yeah, I cannot wait to read it again. Yeah, I think I will love this one. And then for Charms, the challenge is Lumos Maxima, a book with white on the cover, or just a white cover, like, I don't know. But in any case, I have chosen The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. This one is definitely very white. Yeah, as you can see. And this one is also the third book in the Bone Season series. Currently it's the most recent book that is published in this series. The Bone Season is all about a different version of our world where clairvoyant, like people are clairvoyant, but it is illegal to be clairvoyant. And our main character Paige is clairvoyant. She's actually a dream walker, which is very rare. And then there is so much more happening in this book and in this entire world, and it's amazing. I've really enjoyed the first two books and I do want to continue with it, especially since the fourth book is coming out in January of next year. And yeah, the Song Rising is the only one I still need to read that is currently published. Also, it's not too big. Like the other two books in the series are quite big, like they're not short stories by any means, and this one is a lot shorter. So again, that's probably nice to finish as many books as possible and finish as many OWL exams as possible. That is it for like the OWLs I have to achieve in order to pursue my career of journalist or writer. But then, as I mentioned before, I've also chosen books for all the other prompts or like the other subjects. So I'm going to go through those ones now. Not sure if I'm going to read all of them, of course, but it's nice to have the availability of all these books and everything. So yeah, I'm just going to do it like that. So the first other subject is Ancient Runes, Heart Rune. Read a book with a heart on the cover or in the title. So I don't really have a book like that. I couldn't really find one. So I've decided to sort of switch it around and instead read a book that will break my heart. And this book is actually also part of another read-along because it is Mockingjay by Susanna Collins, the third and final book in the Hunger Games series. And I am reading this one because of course I am participating in the Hunger Games read-along for the past couple of months, and this is the final one that is supposed to be read in April because then in May the new prequel of the Hunger Games comes out, so I want to be fully prepared for that. So I feel like it's not completely the subject, but you know, I don't really need it for my career, so I feel like I can change the rules like that. So this is going to be yeah, the final part of my reread of the Hunger Games. I love this series so much. I will say though that Mockingjay is my least favorite out of the series, but it is still amazing. So, you know, I'm very excited for it and I know it will break my heart because of course I've already read it a lot of times before. The next subject is arithmancy, and for that it is magical qualities of number 2, balance, opposites, read something outside your favorite genre. So I guess my favorite genre would be historical fiction or like fantasy. Those two are my favorite genres. For this I have chosen something that is definitely outside my favorite genre, Birthday by Meredith Russo. This is a YA contemporary, and as I mentioned before, I'm not the biggest person for YA contemporaries. They are just not my all-time favorite genre. Sometimes I like them, but yeah, it really depends. So this one is definitely out of my comfort zone, but again, I do like to have some variety on my TBR, and this one sounds like a more quicker read. This one is about two best friends who have been born on the exact same day in the exact same year, and it's about them growing up and going through a lot of stuff. That's all I know about it, but it sounds interesting. Also, it has very cute colored pages, so I like that as well. The next subject is astronomy, and the challenge is night classes. Read the majority of this book when it's dark outside. This is not going to be that difficult for me since I do the majority of my reading at night anyway. So yeah, this is just like sort of like a wild card. I can pick any number of books or like any book and I can choose it for this one. And I have chosen Wakenhurst by Michelle Paver. This is a historical fiction, my favorite genre. It is about a young lonely girl who lives in Edwardian England, and then she finds something in her garden, and yeah, that sort of sets things into motion. And then there's also a touch of witchcraft involved. So again, it's also a bit witchy-ish, so yeah, really fitting for the Harry Potter team, I guess. Don't know anything about this book apart from that because I've never heard anyone talk about it. I just saw it at the bookstore last month and I bought it. So I really feel like reading such a wild card, you know, something I don't know anything about this month, is probably going to be a lot of fun. And I do love books like this, historical fiction, witchiness. Yeah, definitely here for it. Then we have Care of Magical Creatures, Hippogriffs. Read a book with a beak on the cover. Or like with a creature with a beak on the cover. For this I'm going to recycle a book from my March TBR because I haven't read it yet. But that is The King of Crows by Libba Bray. It is very small, but there's a raven here. Or a crow, and it has a beak, so it counts. This is the fourth and final book in the Diviner series, which is all about a young group of people who have special powers. That is why they are called the Diviners, and they live in the 1920s in New York City, and there's a lot of dark stuff going on, and they are probably the only group of people who can stop it. As I mentioned before, final book, I talked about it a lot. It's a recent release. I really love the first 3 books in the series, but I still haven't read this one yet. So it is perfect for this challenge, and I really want to get to it as soon as possible. because I know I will love this series. Like, I do love this series and I know I will love the final one. And I do really want to finish another book series. That would be great. So yeah, this one is definitely something with a beak on the cover. The next subject is Defense Against the Dark Arts. The challenge is Grindy Low, a book that takes place at the coast or at the sea. So for this, that's something I haven't mentioned yet, but in the original announcement video, there's also a link to a page where you can find book recommendations for all the different challenges. So that's where I found this book, because I have chosen House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. I believe this is sort of like a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses, something like that. Apart from that, I don't know much about the plot. But this one was described within this challenge as taking place at the coast or the sea. I guess with a title with like House of Salt and Sorrow, it does sound fitting. Don't know anything about it, don't know how fitting it is. I'm just trusting that Excel document with all the recommendations. And this one, yeah, I just really don't know. I don't read that much YA fantasy anymore. This one does sound interesting, so who knows? We're just going to read it and find out. Then the next subject is divination, and you have to, with like a random number generator, pick a book. I just really don't feel like doing that, so I'm going to skip that one. Again, I don't really need it for my career and I just don't really feel like doing it. I'm sorry. But next we have Herbology, Mimbleless, Mimbletonia. Title starts with an I. And for this one I have chosen The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. I've also picked this one on like my TBR of the O.W.L.s Readathon last year, but I've never read it. I just didn't get around to it, so yeah, I still have not finished this or read it or anything. But it does start with an I, The Immortalist, so you know, it is fitting. Let's just pick it for that. This one, by the way, is about a group of siblings who find out the date of their deaths. Then the rest of the book is following their lives and how they live it now that they know this information. It sounds very interesting, but I've actually heard mixed reviews about it. That like the premise is very interesting, but the execution isn't that great. I still really want to read it though, because it does sound so interesting and amazing and like something I would love. But yeah, I'm sort of prepared for it to be a bit disappointing because I know how some people like didn't like it all that much. I'm just going to have to read it and see. Not sure if it's going to happen this month. It's not really a priority on my TBR this month, but it is there. Then we have Potions Shrinking Solution, a book under 150 pages. I really don't have a book like that. I don't own short books. I don't have any graphic novels right now or poetry collections also. Yeah, I don't have a short book, so I've chosen the shortest book that I own, which is a little more than 200 pages. And that is The Land of Yesterday by K.A. Reynolds, but I might actually be reading this one already this weekend, so before April starts. So I just have this one sort of, yeah, in the bag for maybe as a possibility, but I'm not completely sure. And this is about a young girl who loses her brother, and then after that her mother goes to the Land of Yesterday, which is where all the dead people go to get her brother back. It's sort of weird. It's apparently very emotional and beautiful. And it's middle grade. I don't read that much middle grade. So I do really want to read it either this month or next month. So we'll again just going to have to see. And then the last subject is Transfiguration, Annie Megas lecture, a book or series that includes Shapeshifting. So for this one I also picked a book from like the Excel document with recommendations, because apparently Circe by Madeline Miller involves shapeshifting, which does make sense because she is a sorceress, and what I remember from the myth, there is actually shapeshifting going around, so yeah, that does make sense. This one I'm actually also doubling up as my book for the Basically Readathon, which is also happening in April again. On the 5th of April, my friend Britt over at Basically Britt is organizing one of her 24-hour Basically Readathons. And the challenge for that, as always, is to read a book that has been on your TBR forever. Well, Circe has been on my TBR forever, that much is certain. I ordered it like before it even was released, but I still haven't read it. And this, by the way, is like a retelling of the mythology story of Circe, who was a figure in the Odyssey, like Greek mythology and such. So I do really love that, and I still want to read it. And also the cover is one of the prettiest things that I just own in my life, and oh, I love it so much, and I really want to read it very soon. And that was it for, yeah, all the books that I want to read for the O.W.L.s Magical Readathon. I am again so excited about this readathon, and I really hope I can be successful. Let's just see. Last year I wasn't that successful, but you know, new year, new chances. And again, I really hope you will participating as well, and please let me know if you are participating as well. It's going to be so much fun. But this was it then for this video, and I really hope you liked this video, and if you did, maybe go subscribe or give it a thumbs up, because as always I would really appreciate that. And then hopefully I will see you again very soon in my next video. Bye!